What's going on, YouTube? Testing, testing. Is it mic number 4? Welcome to ATL Talks, Atlanta #1 streaming urban talk radio station, where you can tune in right here on atltalks.com or on our app located in the Apple App Store. This is your in the Google Play Store. This is your host, Antonio Hicks, and you are tuned into Keeping It Real Politically. So, and AKA Escaping the Matrix, man. I haven't even been here in so long. I don't even know how to even get the intro down packed again. But I hope you all had a happy Christmas, a great holiday, a happy Kwanzaa that started yesterday, and or you spent time with friends and family if you don't celebrate any of those things, or even if you were alone, yes, you had time and you had some time just to wind down over this holiday break, just to get back to yourself. And if you still out for the rest of the year, shout out to you, because you have a great job, or you have saved up your time to where you can take the rest of this year off and just chill out and get ready for the whole new year. So, and if you were celebrating this year, this holiday, when you haven't have lost someone, my heart really goes out to you. I know what that means. Well, I do know what that means. And, I send nothing but positive energy and prayers and blessings your way, because I know it's rough to go through a holiday year having lost a loved one. And my prayers go out to everybody suffering through this inclement weather that's taking place. I can't even say it's inclement. It's just this weather on how bad it is up in New York. I can't even get my words together today, man. Up in New York, because I got friends and family up there, especially those that are living in the Buffalo area. Y'all be careful. Don't get out if you don't have to. I know you've been locked down for 5 days, but y'all know we've been through a pandemic. So, we've been locked down through much worse. So, yeah, my energy and love goes out to you all. Be careful up there. Stay safe, because, I hate because I'm not going to talk about any sad stuff, because there have been a loss of life up in the Buffalo. I think they're up to like 30 people now. They have passed because of the storm and getting trapped out into that weather. So, yeah, if you don't have to go out, don't go out. I understand if you got to, you didn't have enough supplies to last you throughout this process because you didn't think it was going to take this long. But while you out there, man, just be safe and be careful, because at the end of the day, I want everybody to go home to their loved ones. I don't care if your loved one is a pet. Just make it back home safely so you can continue living on and spreading the love of life that you have in you. So, today is wild. So those that have seen the YouTube I've been doing when I couldn't make it up to the radio station, because I had been out, like I was out for 2 weeks now, because I was on vacation. Me and family was on vacation for about a good week in Vegas and in LA. And then, when we got back, it was just like I needed to chill, man. I just needed to wind down from being gone for so long, because we did so much walking on, like, not that I'm out of shape, but we just did so much stuff just trying to get out and be around things that, I didn't have the energy when I came back. And so, and then the past couple of weeks, my kid is in town from Michigan, so I miss my boys, especially my oldest son, because he doesn't get down here that often, because he does go to Michigan State. So he came down for the holidays, so, I just wanted to spend some time with him and my youngest son together, because we used to be ride or die growing up, when they was growing up. And so we were everywhere. So it felt good to have both of my boys together down here at the same time. I missed that. And even if we didn't do much of anything but just sit around each other, play some video games, whatever, I missed every last bit of that. That's why I tell people all the time, when you have babies, man, love up on your kids, because when they get older and they go off and they get grown, you really start missing them. And I did. I missed the heck out of my boy, especially like I said, my oldest. My youngest that goes down, he goes to SCAD. But yeah, my oldest, I don't see him as much, because he is going to not the University of Michigan, that's where his mom went to, but Michigan State. Ooh, I don't want to get that messed up, because boy, they're a rival team. So yeah, it was, so it feels good to get back in here. But the whole purpose and the premise of this show is today is to do a Sendoff. So yes, man, I've been doing this radio show for a little bit over a year now. Yeah, I started it, I think it was November of last year. And so, and it was great. It was a great experience. I thought I wanted to do radio. I've been wanting to get in radio and get out there. The unfortunate thing about it was doing this and then trying to get scripts ready for this show, having so many guests on, like you start losing like focus on other things on top of it too. because like I had the podcast going on, so it was trying to do this show on top of trying to record my podcast. And then at the first part of this year, those that know I was running for office, so I had to do that as well. I was also still volunteering, and then I got my regular day job. Those that don't know, I am an engineer throughout the day, so I do that Monday through Friday. It does give me some flexibility to allow me to do certain things I can't say that, but it does give me some flexibility. And then I also was helping out with doing the podcast for Atlanta Technical College. So yeah, I was a host of that for the first season, and then I helped out doing some consulting work and helping them out behind the scenes for like the second season when they put another host into place because they wanted to rotate, the people out. So yeah, I've been busy this whole year. I've really been busy this whole year. And in the midst of me being busy this whole year, like certain things just kind of just fell off. And it's not because, the time wasn't there. It was just the energy. Like, I don't understand. Those people, whoever, if you've never done content creation before and you had to do everything by yourself, if it's something that you're interested in, I challenge you to do it I did a challenge for 31 days for the month of October. Try doing it for 31 days and do like what I did. This will let you know if you're really passionate about doing content creation. So my 31-day challenge, and I'm going to get back to me leaving the radio station, but this is part of the reason why. So I did 31 days to challenge myself to really see what I was passionate about. And it was 31 days of just posting content on social media and making reels and stuff. And reels, you would think, oh man, it's just 1 minute. No, it's getting all of that content together, editing that content up, and then getting it down to a minute, if not under a minute, and then posting it online. 31 days I did that. And then I did streams on top of it too. So those that don't know, I do stream. I play video games on Twitch. And so I was streaming on that. So I have all of these things going because I'm trying to build up, my network of people in my own personal community, the House of Matrix community, to where we all can come together. We can talk about politics. We can play some video games and talk about games and new technology that's coming out, and how all like my mission statement for PTG TV is like how all those things are intertwined together. And so that's really what I've been doing with my entire brand of getting the radio station going. I had my podcast going long before I got the radio station going. And then doing my streams, getting out, talking to people in the community, because I do care about the community, but I think we need another positive voice coming out for things actually taking place in the community itself. Because one thing I do see is that, once certain people, get, I guess, popular, you kind of lose sight or lose focus on what's really happening within the streets. And not to say that, it's not a bad thing, but, I always want to keep my ear to the ground. So when it comes to the radio station, I love to hear, man. Who was it? Darius Butler, who ran for Congress down in South Georgia. He introduced me to the radio station host here, Daryl Davis. So I do love Cluster Radio. I love the Cluster Radio family, and Daryl has done a great. I appreciate Daryl for allowing me to come in here and open his platform up to me being able to come in here and do my thing on his radio show. I appreciate the conversation that we've had together up in here, like personal stuff, just talking before the show actually starts, or sometimes after the show. So that's one thing I am going to say. I'm going to miss the Cluster Radio family. And they do have a ton of shows here. So make sure y'all tune in to just take Cluster Radio and ATL Talks, because they do have some great shows going on here. They have a hip hop radio station, they have the gospel radio station. They still have they have a ton of talk radio shows that go on here. So yeah, I encourage. I guess one thing that we should have done more is done more advertisements to really shout out the programs that's taking place. But yeah, and I'm not going. I mean, I'm not. So I will say this: I'm leaving Cluster Radio, but I'm not getting rid of PTG TV, and I'm not getting rid of Keeping It Real Politically. So I'm transforming Keeping It Real Politically to a live studio audience. So if y'all been listening to my YouTube or the past interview, or not the interview, but discussion I've been having with John Jersey Kedricks, we were talking about that. And so we went out to, California, and we went to Warner Brothers Studios. One thing what I did like, and what I found out throughout my podcast and going to Warner Brothers Studios, is I actually like talking to people. And I like seeing people's face, when they get those aha moments, or when they have questions, or when you say something that really hits and triggers to them. And one thing you can't get from radio is get that. And so that's why I love talking to people so much when I was out in the streets doing community service work, is that you actually get to give some people some knowledge that they didn't have. And actually, when I give out knowledge, I give the facts behind it. So I'm not giving out no opinion pieces, because we do have a lot of people out there giving out opinion pieces. I'm actually giving out legitimate facts behind the stuff that I'm talking about. And I think when it comes to radio, you got to actually like being, doing a radio show, and they might have some call-in guests, and or, you got to like doing like talk radio. I like doing the talk radio, and I like having, like seeing people's face. So that's why I'm transitioning over from doing the live radio here on, atltalks.com and the iHeartRadio station, and I'm transitioning over to an actual in-person studio audience starting next year. My first episode is going to be in January. So you got to stay tuned for that, because I'm still trying to get, guests and stuff lined up. But it has been an experience here, because I've been able to interview a lot of people, same as on my podcast, but interview a lot of people here on the radio show and actually have them here in person. I mean, we've had candidates alongside myself. You had Darius Butler here. You had Representative William Bodie that ran for Labor Commissioner here. We had Nikita Hemingway here as well. She ran for Ag Commissioner. We had, a lot of opinion pieces taking place. We had specialists here on the show, and I enjoyed that. I enjoy, talking to those individuals, interviewing them, and giving you all something that, you might not have heard before, or from the perspective that I like to give it in. Because when I like to talk to people, I like to talk to people from I call it bar talk, from a one-on-one perspective, to where I want you to feel comfortable. Don't worry about words outside of, you can't curse here on the radio station, but don't worry about somebody, really trying to set you up to, expose something about you. Because I like to hear people's story. I think that's what I care about, is hearing people's story. Like, how did they get to where they are? What makes them so passionate about what it is that they do? I don't care if you're running for office. I don't care if you're trying to get a business going, or you have a successful business going. I don't care if you're working in technology. It's like, I always like to hear the starter moments, because to me, that's a teachable moment. It's a teachable moment for people that's listening in. That's a teachable moment for people that's actually watching the show. So that's what I really love about when it comes to in-person studio audience, and when it comes to like talk radio in general, because I think it gives us an opportunity to introduce the people that's listening in to the community, or those professionals that's within the community. And so as I transition from this to a live studio audience, I want to have, regular people on too, to talk about the struggles of just life. Because a lot of people, when you get to a certain place in life, you kind of forget about the stuff that you came from, and that people are still trying to exist down there, especially now in this economy with the way the price of things are just going up. I like to hear stuff and show people what people are still experiencing. That's kind of why, I ran for office, because I care so much about the community as a whole. So the thing that makes me move from here to there is, I just want to have people in the room, man. I know it's still, it's not a pandemic anymore. I know COVID is still real. But yeah, I just want to have people in the room. I want to talk to people. I want people to ask questions. So it's an in-person studio audience, but I'm gonna have mics set up for people to ask questions to the guests I have on the show. And to me now, you can ask serious questions and hear it come straight from the horse's mouth, rather than just hear it from just a one-on-one interview. And it will be live in studio, and I'm still going to be doing it virtually on top of it too. So those that can't make it to the locations, because I have a location A, and I do have locations picked out, and y'all will see it in the announcement. So I have two locations. So whether you can't make it to either one of those locations, you'll still be able to tune in virtually through YouTube and through Twitch. So I plan on streaming streaming there to both of those platforms. But I want you to be able to ask, and we will have people monitoring the chat room. So if you ask a question, we'll ask it to the people that's on stage, and we'll give them time to answer. And that's why when it comes to the radio format, you kind of limited on time. Like, you got to get in and hit hard for like 50 to 55 minutes. And for me, I want a little bit more time. I want to have a little bit more time with the individual, if they will allow me to have that, because some people don't have that much time when they're coming out visiting you. So I at least want to give them people time to ask questions to individuals I have up here, and be able to get a legitimate answer back from them. And I plan on having people that don't mind, mind talking and speaking their mind. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like I don't like scripted shows. Like I understand that you have to protect your brand to a certain degree, but I want you to be able to come on and speak freely. And like I said, now that I have a lot of things in the tank, you can pretty much see my interview style and what I am going to do and what I'm not going to do. And so for me, I want to have people on that doesn't mind being honest, that doesn't mind speaking the truth, no matter if it's hurtful or if it's not hurtful, as long as it's the truth, to let people know what's really going on, what they're doing and how they're doing it. And, doing that with the in-person studio audience would allow me to have that flexibility to do that. Whereas when it comes to radio, you locked in. It's not saying anything wrong with, cluster radio, you just locked in for a time, because it's anybody's segment. You locked in for wherever the hour or 2 hour segment that you have. So yeah, it's been great here. Like I said, it's been a lot going on this year. Even coming up here and talking on the show about, my campaign, or just being able to, my moments where I was venting and I was pretty much going in on my frustration with so much taking place across the community. Even when it comes to the party itself, because I still have my opinions about the Democratic Party, and I'm still a Democrat, and I'm not going to say anything about Republicans, because they as far as I'm concerned, they pretty much can catch on fire. Because if you can support them, and I'm pretty much open half the time. But a lot of stuff that people have been pushing, and they haven't been pushing no policy, they can keep on pushing that down the road. Because I don't have time for anybody like that. But yeah, it's, and I'm a very opinionated person. Like, I understand, even that doing this show and me being the opinionated person that I am, I probably defend a lot of people. And I can say that openly and honestly, but my thing was, if I'm talking about the people who was mostly affected, which when I was talking passionate about stuff, it's always the community, especially when it comes to the party itself. I was critical of the party because the party cared so much more about popularity and about who they can sell off to the people, that they didn't care about the person that was actually more helpful and that would be more beneficial to helping the community out. So, I have to speak my mind to it, and some people didn't like that. I don't like playing games when it comes to people's lives. I really don't. I don't like that, and that's just who I am personally. I don't play games like that because I've been through a lot of stuff that a lot of people have gone through. So those that know me, my story, about, me being homeless for a little bit over 2 years, me losing my youngest child, so having to go through a death in my own family, me going through, having gone through a divorce, going through all of those things throughout my life and lost everything I have. To have come up from that and be in the position that I am, I hate to see people go through it. And when you play games with people's lives, it pisses me off. And at the end of the day, you don't have to like what I say, but if you're not doing something to effectively drive change in the people's lives that you're supposed to be representing, you're gonna catch all the smoke. And you don't have to like me. You can separate yourself from me. I honestly don't care. And this is how I felt during the process when I was talking about the issues I was speaking on earlier this year, or in general anyway. It's just I care more about people, and that's my problem. I will say that that's like that's my kryptonite. That's the one thing that messes me up. I care too much. That's probably it messed me up during my campaign. I care too much about individuals, and I don't want to see anybody suffer. And so that's why I thank Daryl for allowing me to be on this platform to speak that. Because it could have been bad for his brand too. You could have had people calling up here complaining, because had the show really blown up, people could have been calling up here complaining to him like, you got to get this dude off your show because he's being real reckless. And I wasn't cursing. It's just like I said, I'm just really passionate about stuff especially when it comes to the community. And I'm gonna say what I gotta say. I don't care. I don't care who it's in regards to. I don't care if it's the party that I'm supposed to be representing, or if it's people in my own personal family or my circle, my group of friends. I don't care, because I don't wish anything on anybody. Same thing when we talk about climate change, because like I said earlier in the first part of the show is, my prayers go out to people suffering in Buffalo, and all the stuff is coming from climate change. It had Lake Erie up there that's being flooded over from all the snow and the weather that's taking place. And it's like, climate change is real. I don't understand people they don't believe in the science behind that, because it really does affect people's lives. And now we're at this place now to where you got 30 people so far that we know of that have lost their life up there because of this blizzard and this storm. And we had the massive heat waves that took place over this past summer. So it's just craziness stuff around this world. So that's why I do love talk radio, and that's why I do like engaging specialists on this show. And I like really getting down and talking to the community itself, which is why I say again, I'm transitioning from the talk radio aspect of it, and I'm going to an in-person studio audience so we can speak directly to the people. Now, when am I actually having that? I haven't decided on a date yet. I have not decided on a date yet, but it is taking place in January. I have the locations already pinned down, but it's it's just getting everything else planned out and in the works. And I've already consulted my friends and my family, and everybody's in support of it. And I know I'm saying it's like I've been doing this for 10 years. But I like to put myself in a place where I believe that I got people listening. Whether you tune in now or you tune in later or you catching the replay on my podcast when I do upload it to my podcast, and or you catching the replay on my YouTube, because I am streaming live now here on YouTube. But I did get that blessing to make sure I was doing the right thing, because one thing I will say, it takes time for anything to kind of blow up and get some followers behind you. And I don't think a year is enough. I don't think that, because even now with my podcast, I'm averaging. I was averaging, because I haven't posted in a while. I was averaging about 60 plus to 100 plus listeners a month. If not, no, it's more than that. No, it's 1,000 a month. So I've been doing good with that, but I was doing it for 2 years, and I still could be doing more. And that's the other thing that I missed. I was focusing so much on making sure I had a script ready for this show, on top of doing the other stuff that I was doing, that I really started missing out on my interviews for my podcast. And to me, whether I'm getting any income off of it or not, that's where I started at. And I can't forget about the baby that I started from. So I'm getting back into doing more podcasts, and I have some interviews already set up to go for that. So, and I am excited about that, because I want to do more tech talks. We've been having a lot of hacks taking place. Like, hell, Twitter just suffered a network breach that I haven't seen it in the news yet. I don't think I have seen it in the news yet. And that's the other thing I want to talk about too, is that your data is your lifeline, and we've been seeing so many security breaches out here. It's like become almost like the school shootings. It's become like the norm to where we don't talk about them anymore. And no, I'm not trying to say one is worse than the other, because clearly when we have a school shooting, you have lost a life of a child. That's terrible. I'm just saying in regards to like stuff that's really important for you to know, because your data is important. Like, your data really is important, and to have somebody suffer a data breach and potentially lose your information, especially with like the Equifax one we had like years ago, to me that is like mission stop. Let everybody know they need to change their passwords up, go to, like in this case, Twitter, pull down the data log to see what data they actually have out there exposed to, that Twitter them is using and publicizing and selling themselves, and actually what happened during that breach, and then get information on what the attackers were able to get. Because you don't want nobody setting up and selling your stuff and getting access to your account. And that's why I'm passionate about security. You don't want anybody getting access to your account, stealing your identity and getting all these fake credit cards and stuff. Because that was my fear from the whole Equifax thing. But anyway, I'm getting off topic again. So that's why, again, I'm doing the in-person show, because that way, we have people on, you all can ask these questions. Like, a lot of people not into technology. A lot of people don't understand a lot about healthcare, about, certain foods that you should be eating on, versus your blood type. A lot of factual based stuff that at least that you can get up and ask a specialist in person. I don't care if it's like on stream or you actually there. And even if, you make it there and you don't get to ask your question during the whole segment, at least afterwards, you get an opportunity to talk to that individual that's there as well too. So, because I'm gonna ask whoever shows up to take time out for guests, at least another like 30 to 45 minutes, take time out for guests, when we end the segment, to talk to people if anybody has any questions. So yeah, that's really been it, man. I kind of actually, outside of that, I try to get rest. I can't get any rest. Trying to get some rest and recoup. It's like I'm always thinking towards the next plan and what can be done. Because I did start my business, Engineering Tomorrow, which I need to really start talking more about, and that's to do content creations for individuals like you all that's listening in, and for other businesses and for other colleges that want to get their own podcast going, or in this case, like what I'm doing, like, have a talk show going too. So I have started a business in doing that, and I've been kind of pushing that and doing also video walkthroughs for real estate agents and drone footage for commercial brokers and developers. So I've really been trying to focus on that as well too, because like everybody, you want to have multiple streams of income, especially when there's this whole talk of a recession and whatnot. And I like doing those things. I like editing videos. I like filming stuff, and I like producing things for people to push out onto the internet of things. And I'm not to where I'm not trying to be a filmmaker. I'm not trying to be a producer. Like I'm not trying. That's not my thing. But I do like the aspect of doing audio recording and doing stuff like what I'm doing right now. And because people have skills, they need to get publicized. They want to bring out to the community, but they just don't know how to do that. And that's what engineering is tomorrow is for. And I plan on adding a cybersecurity perspective to it too later on down the line, because like I said, I care about cybersecurity. I care about InfoSec, and I want to make sure that we're doing all we can, especially within minority communities, to protect our information. So that is coming down the line as well too with engineering tomorrow, to make sure your home is properly secured and your network is properly secured and your small business is taken care of, and making sure you have all the correct firewall set up, and that nobody's leeching off of your data when they come in attached to you if you have an open network. So yeah, so it's doing that show, doing engineering tomorrow, doing my regular job as a lab engineer, working on doing R&D for multi-access edge computing. I'm just tired. And then trying to be, a family man on top of it too. I'm just exhausted. Like I'm mentally exhausted. And then trying to find some time for myself and my own mental health breaks, because that's a big thing too. That's, that I think a lot of us need to start focusing on is mental health. Because we talk about it. We talked about it a lot on the show, but I don't think we talk a lot about it at home. And what's crazy to me is I'm starting to see a lot more mental health cases going on, especially when we talk about it in the black community, because we never talk about it in the black community throughout this year than I've ever seen before. Like people having panic attacks, like out in the open, like people having nervous breakdowns, people taking their own life, and that's sad to say. And I think we really need to start getting back to ourselves and knowing how to, because I think that's really what the pandemic pointed out when it came to a lot of us, is that we didn't know how to really spend time to ourselves and how to love ourselves. And that's why people want, to me, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, why everybody wanted to go back to normality, because normality was a way to, mask what was really, that you was really hiding internally. I don't care if it was you didn't love your wife or you didn't like your kids, the kids that you got at home, or you didn't like your job, but at least you was working that job. And so the pandemic made you sit down. It made you sit your behind down and really have to assess, are you happy? A lot of people don't like that answer. They did not like that answer. And that's why they wanted to go back to sitting in that hour-long, 2-hour-long traffic. They wanted to go back to working regular 9 to 5s because they didn't like the way they looked on the inside. And so as I'm ending out, this show, and as I'm ending out this segment of today, because I don't know if I'm going to go for the whole time, is that I think we all have to get back to, who we are. And that's why I started this program, is to talk about all things news today, because everything is political. It is political. No matter how you look at it, everything is connected politically. But even internally, like it's all internally. Like you try to tell yourself that you're happy and you're really not happy. And I think we need to do more assessing of that. We need to talk and really need to get back down to ourselves. A lot of us cannot stand to be alone. And to me, I think you need to be able to date yourself before you can date anybody else. Like I was telling my barber that, and my barber and I, we real cool. Well, you don't know that, but my barber and I were really cool. Cut my boys' hair since they was like little kids. And he and I was having a conversation, and we was talking about, me taking my own kind of guy trip, my own personal guy trip. And he was like, "You travel alone?" I was like, "Yeah, I travel alone." I was like, "What's wrong with traveling alone?" He was like, "Why would you do that?" He was like, "Why wouldn't you go out with your lady or whatever?" I was like, "Why can't I go by myself?" I was like, sometimes you got to do stuff by yourself. Because I'm like, you got to have time to regroup your own mind. I'm like, it's not taking anything from who you with. It's just that, you need to refresh and re-energize yourself. And he himself said he's never going out anywhere on his own. He's never seen a movie on his own. He's never gone out and went to a bar just to sit down and have dinner to himself. He said he's never done it because he said he felt like somebody's staring at him. And I think that's the issue we have, is that we don't know how to beat ourselves. We don't know how to beat. I mean, we talk about meditation all the time, but we really don't. We talk about meditation, but we don't really talk about meditation and what it really means to sit down and connect with oneself, or just to sit down and unwind. And to me, I'm like, that's really what we got to get back to. And I don't care what you're doing in the community, because if you're definitely doing it in the community, you really need to get back to yourself, because you're taking on. Because it's no different than somebody being a pastor of a church. If you're a head of anybody, you're leading anybody, if you're the head of your household, or somebody's depending upon you, I don't care if you're running a nonprofit, I don't care if you're out doing any ministry work in the streets, man, you got to get all the energy off of you, because you take on so much stuff. Like when I was out campaigning, and I would hear so many sob stories of, I can't say stop, but just sad stories of what people was going through. That brought me down, because it's like, it's painful. It's like really, like I had one woman, I think she had me in tears. It was at 21 Savages. He does this Thanksgiving, like, feed the hungry type, feed the undeserved community thing in DeKalb County, where I grew up at. He does it every year. So, y'all can say what y'all want to say about the dude. He does help the community out. I'm not gonna say I'm cool with the trap. I do like his music, the trap rap, because I understand what that means, and to killing another black man, taking their life. But he still does, outside of music, he gives back to the community. So I met this young lady there, and we were there, we were talking, and she was telling me she works in Alpharetta where I work at, but she's a single mom, and she says she has to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning just to get herself ready and get some food on the table for her child, then get her kid to school, beeline all the way down to Alpharetta from Stone Mountain, which is a little bit over an hour and a half drive. Then has to hurry up and rush back from that part of town just to be able to pick her child up from the after school program. She always has to pay a late fee, because the traffic is just terrible when you're trying to get from Stone Mountain to Alpharetta. And she has to do that Monday through Friday, and then try to be a mom once she gets home, make sure the child had a great day, help him out with homework, have dinner on the table. That, to me, that hurt. And so when you're talking to more and more people like that, and the same as the fathers too, that's working multiple jobs because they want to make sure that their house is taken care of, but they're working all those jobs, but they really don't have enough time to spend time in development with their kids and their spouse, or whoever they're with, their partner. I think when you're talking to people like that, it's good that you're there for a listening ear, but you got to eventually come back and take care of yourself on top of it, because you got to dump that energy off somewhere. And so that's why I'm like, as somebody saying self-development is important. It is important. It is important. And I don't think we really do enough for ourselves. Like during Christmas, this is a holiday season, one of the most commercial season that we have. And it's really what? Buying for other people. When do you buy a Christmas gift for yourself? And would you spend the amount of money that you spend on others on yourself and not feel guilty about it? Like that's the other thing too. Like you will see something that you want. Like they got a sale going on, but it costs a little bit more than what it would cost for the gifts that you would buy for everybody, or it might be the total cost of what you spend for everybody else. You will guilt yourself out of buying it because you feel as though you should be rewarding all the people that you're around. And not to say that you shouldn't, but I think in the midst of you trying to do for others, you got to do for yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do it, it's what I call bottleneck syndrome. Everything is going to eventually come to a head, and it's just going to explode. And that's why I had a lot of, like one of my shows I had on my podcast was not Real Talking Conversation. It was On the Couch. Like, as crazy as it sounds, I called it On the Couch. And the whole purpose behind On the Couch was I would have a specialist on, and we would talk about things that you can do for self-improvement. I don't care if it's meditation. I don't care if it's burning candles. I don't care if it's going for long walks. I don't care if it's listening to, some ocean waves while you're sleeping at night, or just, get down to, I don't care if it's playing video games. Like my therapist told me to play video, because I love playing video games. Sit down, grab a drink, and just play some video games and just mellow out and just detox from the day. Which my go-to game is Grand Theft Auto. As violent as it is, that's what I need to sometimes, just some Grand Theft Auto. Go through, do some street racing, run down some criminals, other gang members, and then, just enjoy the rest of my night and just to cool down from the stress of the day. But that's the premise behind my show. That's kind of why I got started into doing it. Is my first purpose was to break stuff down in a way that people can understand, but to also introduce you to the people that I was meeting when I was out on the streets. And I want to do that even more with the talk show, the actual in-person live studio audience talk show. So you all can see some of the great people that I'm meeting. I don't care if it's me meeting people at Atlanta Technical College when we're doing their shows, because I have met a lot of great people there, or it's me just meeting people out on the streets when I'm doing community service work. It's like I come across a lot of fantastic people. And like I even met this one young lady. She has, is it Sweet Sugar? I can never get her name right. Her and her sister started a pastry shop. Sweet Brown Sugar, Sweet Sugar something. I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to post it on my social media pages. They have great pastries. They have great food there, too. They say it's a coffee shop. They have a coffee shop in Snellville if you live in the state of Georgia. It's in Gwinnett County. And they have another coffee shop in Gwinnett County off of, in Walton. What's Walton County? Their story is great. They're actually going to be on the podcast as well, too. But the guy, they end up finding their second location from this guy who owned a ton of land. And his wife went into their store when she was getting her hair done one day and loved the environment and the energy so much that she brought her husband in. And her husband ended up asking them, if they wanted to open a store up on his shop that he had just sitting there on all this land that he owned. And I love hearing stuff like that, because it's like you didn't have to go and approach anybody. You didn't have to, go to a bank to ask them if you can buy some money, buy some off somebody's land. It's as this guy came to this woman. He liked her energy. He liked her spirit. He liked what she was representing in the store, the pastry shop that she had, and what she was doing, and how cool everybody was. They had the Chick-fil-A energy. Then he offered her a spot on his own stuff. And those are people I want you all to meet, because you never know. He might have something else that he could offer to you. Y'all can work a deal out on. And that's why I like, having those people onto the show so you all can hear who they are, find out how you can find them, and, slide in their DMs. Slide in their DMs and see if they respond back. They ain't always respond back, but see if they can respond back. And that's what I enjoy most about, this Cluster Radio family, because it is a family up here. And that's what I love about Daryl, like I said, for letting me come onto this show and have people up on this platform. So, yeah, I'm gonna wind down because I'm getting long-winded now. But the listeners I do have, thank you all for tuning in. Though I'm leaving radio, keeping it real politically is not going anywhere. It is going to now, like I said, and I keep saying it, it's going to be now a live studio audience. So follow me on my social media platforms. It's Mr._Antonio Hicks for my Instagram. And I probably should be using my PTGTV Instagram. I'm on YouTube at PTGTV on YouTube for their @ symbols now that they're using now. So make sure you come there and follow and subscribe me on there. So, and then you can find me on Twitch at Escaping the Matrix. So Escaping TH without an E, Matrix. And I'll be streaming on there. I'm going to set a live schedule up on there to be doing, more streams now as we approach the new year. So you always have, contact with me. I'm not going anywhere. I love doing what I'm doing. I love talking to people. I love the engagement. I love myself learning something. Like I'll have having people come on, or if somebody in the audience wants to drop some facts, whatever. I like to learn. I think I'm going to be learning until the day I leave this earth. I'm not one of those people that I can get caught up in who I am and what I already know to where I don't want to learn anymore. I love to learn. And so, there's some new stuff that's coming out too that I'm excited about that I want to hear more about. But thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all to those that have tuned in every week when I am on air. I thank y'all for the support that you've given me. I thank y'all for allowing me to end your life, because realistically, you got to tune in and you allow me to come into your household, and you get to hear my rant sometimes, and you get to hear me and my motivational speaking sometimes. And I thank you for allowing me to be present within your household and let me be around your family and your friends, and for following me on social media, because I truly believe that, we aren't meant here to be here by ourselves. We're meant here to be an asset and a help to others that's out there. That's how I've always lived my life. That's how my parents have taught me to live my life, my grandparents, because that's one of the things that you learn growing up in the South, is that we're not here alone. We're here for community, and you can't get anywhere without the help of anybody else around you. My grandmother instilled it into me. Both of my grandparents instilled it into me. My mom instilled into me, all of my aunts and my uncles and stuff, they instilled into me. And that's one thing I've been pushing into my own kids. And that's one way I've been living my own life from all the community service work that I've done. No matter me running for office or doing anything, it's always trying to do what I can to be an asset and to help other people out, to help them and becoming their best selves, to be a better person and a better person to the community as a whole. So thank y'all for tuning in again. I don't know if will I see y'all next week? What's next week? Next week is after. I'll be on live. So yeah, tune in next week. Follow me on social media. You'll know where I'll be at. I don't know if I probably will. I will stream. That way you can hear about the updates on when I'm actually gonna have the in-person studio hours, and then you actually see. So if you follow me on social media, you get to see the flyer as well too. So thank y'all for tuning in. As always, y'all be great. Love y'all for like I said, for letting me into y'all life. Hope y'all have a great and happy new year. Make sure you get your affirmations going. Go into this new year, looking at what's ahead. Don't plan too much stuff. Focus on one or two things and let those two things be your greatest thing, so it can help you to branch out into other stuff. That's what my plan is to focus on what I love doing and why I love doing it, so I can share that with you all. And as that grows, then I will continue to grow and get into other things as well too. So y'all be safe out there. Y'all please be safe out there. This weather is still cold as hell outside. And if you're in the area that's where it's snowing at, if you got to go out, make sure you just go out, get your essentials goods, and get back into your house so you can stay warm. And again, my thoughts and prayers goes out to those family members that have lost somebody because of this storm, because I don't wish any of that. I don't wish any harm on anybody when it comes to anything from school shootings to just shootings in general, because we've been having a lot of that taking place across this holiday season too. So y'all be safe, be safe, be safe. Protect yourself, protect your mind, protect your body. Love upon all the people that surround you, because that's one thing that we always do. Lead with your heart and love those that surround you, and continue to spread love. So I will see y'all next week. Love y'all. Peace out.